Well, hi folks, this is Darren with My RV Works. We're in Kingston, Washington right now, and we've got this Arctic Fox behind us, and there's some damage to the slide topper fabric, okay? And so what we're going to be doing on this video is replacing it with this slide topper fabric. When you get it, you're gonna notice that we call this GIMP or polyline or whatever. I just like calling it GIMP. It just makes it sound kind of fun. So you got the skinnier and the thicker. So those are some things we're going to be talking about here in a few minutes when we put this on. Basically, it's a pretty straightforward procedure. You order this stuff. Sometimes dealers will even have, dealers and shops might even have this in a long roll, and they just pay out how much you need and they just cut it clean. If you buy it from the manufacturer, they're going to have a finished edge here, okay? So you could get this, your local shop, your local dealership might have this, and it's already got the GIMP in the ends. So those are some things that might help you. Now, the instructions are going to be, I'm going to do this a little differently in instructions. In fact, the instructions say to go off that way and feed this in both tube and gutter rail at the same time. It's a bit of a challenge to do both gutter rail and tube at the same time. So I'm going to take this down, put it on some sawhorses, do one side, put it back up and do the other side. The other thing is I've already been up on this ladder here. The first thing you're going to find, you should find, is on the spring end. On this roller tube, the spring end is this side. That side is a free spool end. Depending on the length of your roll tube, your slide topper, you might have springs on both sides, okay? But there's going to be a spring in this thing, and you don't want to unspring it and count, okay, how long is it? Okay, that's 12 turns, so let's just leave the spring tension set, okay? When we get up on this ladder, I'm going to show you, I got my little ice picky looking tool, and we're going to roll the tube a little bit until we find the hole. There's going to be a hole on the roll tube on the outside, and there's going to be a hole on the shaft, okay? So you're going to find those holes and match it up and stick your pin through both to kind of lock that spring tension in place, okay? Note, this one did not have the hole on the drive shaft. And I probably wasted about a half hour already going to both sides, screwing it, looking at it. My wife's holding it. I'm up on the ladder trying to find this elusive hole in the drive shaft. It was not there. I even took the freaking things apart. There's no hole on the inside part, so I drilled my own. So be advised, don't go mad like I did. If you cannot find this elusive hole, it may not be there. So I just drilled another hole through, it's just an aluminum inner shaft, just drill a hole, stick your pick in it. So that's what we had to deal with on this guy. But typically within the first 3 minutes of the job, you climb your ladder, you rotate your thing, you stick your pin through, you've locked down your tension, and you're off to the races, okay? So what we're gonna do on this, we're gonna lock down the spring tension, okay? I'm then gonna take off the two brackets that are holding the slide topper on the outside. This is different from what your the manual is going to tell you how to do it, okay? So we're going to take the brackets off, and then I'm going to take the whole slide topper off and set it on top of the slide room. Then on the RV wall side, I've located it, it's at that end. There's going to be a small little screw that's going to go through the gutter track. Now the gutter track is the part that's attached to the RV. We're going to take that screw out, set it aside, and that means this whole thing is going to slide right off, okay? We're going to take the roller tube with us. That's different than the instructions. They say to leave the roll tube up there. I'm taking the roll tube off with me, okay? That's the part that's different. Take the whole thing down, set it up on sawhorses. If you've seen my other awning videos, we're gonna do the same way here that I did with the awning. Same way we did with the awning. We're gonna set it up on sawhorses, we're gonna pull the old fabric off, slide the new fabric on, roll it up, put it back up there, and as we put it back up there, we're gonna slide it in the track, put our set screw back on, set our thing, pull out our pin, bada bing, bada bomb, and we're off to the next customer. Okay, so here we go. Okay, so where we are, I'm up on the ladder. I've already drilled my hole here. I've got my little favorite pick to stick in the hole. This is the gutter right here. On the far end is where I found a little screw on the gutter that holds this. Now, if that screw is not in the gutter, what you're gonna find is this fabric might have a tendency to stair step. Why is it stair stepping? Because this fabric is actually, it has a tendency to move a little bit as you're driving or whatever. So by putting a screw in on the gutter side, you've kind of locked. Once you exercise your slide room in and out, and you like how it's lining up right here, you put a set screw in this gutter to lock this fabric from moving on you, okay? So if you're watching this and you notice that your slide topper is kind of, I call it stair stepping. It looks like a stairway going up. Then the way you adjust that is pay it out, take your set screw and move this fabric one way or the other until it's rolling itself up squarely. That also would happen for an awning, okay? This is the side that's got the spring. I'm a little out of breath. I've been humping this ladder all over the place. Shouldn't have had that zebra cake. Oh, those are so good. Zebra flesh. Okay. So this is the side I drilled my hole in because I did not have a hole. And so let's see here. If I can, what I want to do is, I need to be the ladder right here, but I'm going to just grab this and, okay, there. There we go. So the hole I drilled now, see the tension is out of the spring. This tube is still sprung, but the pin is holding that tension. And then I don't have to sit here and count turns, you know, on the thing. So that gives me, I own this fabric now. See, this fabric is not tight, okay? Now, now that we've got that, I've also already loosened this nut to save some time, because I'm sure you guys have other things to do instead of sitting and watch a 50-minute video of mine. Okay, so now, I'm gonna put this right there, okay? And then I'll go to the other end and take that off. And so this is the bracket that I've taken off. Again, deviates from the instructions that they send you, okay? My trade craft. And so I need to go to the other end and take that bracket off. And then I've already taken my screw out, and this fabric, see how the fabric is sliding? In fact, I'll tell you, I'm gonna do another trick. That end down there is just in a hollow shaft. And go pan the camera to the other end of this, because I'm gonna just pull this right out. Just walk down there to the other end of this tube and watch me when I pull it out, okay? Okay, so I'm gonna pull, oh, you can hear me just fine because I got the lavalier. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pull this out of that little tube right there. See that? Okay, so I just pulled that out. I'm gonna move I own this topper now, don't I? Because you can come back down here, Ann. And what I'm working on is let me bring the camera up here. I want to show them what I'm working with up at this end. Okay, so this is I brought you up here. This is the gutter track. I could probably, my expectation is not to have to take off this drip spout right here. And here is my pin in the shaft. So the instructions are going to say to leave the roll tube on, and then they want you to feed the fabric on both the roll tube and the gutter at the same time. And here's the tear that you can see right there that we're replacing this for. So again, my way is to take this totally off, 4 bolts, right? I've got my sawhorses set up right down there, okay? And we're going to pull this out of the gutter. We're going to pull the whole thing out, and then when we come back, the new fabric will be on the tube, okay? Because we did it down there on the sawhorses. And then all we have to do is feed it in this thing and then set the 4 bolts back up, pull our pin, and we're done, okay? One more thing I wanted to mention, all of your tubes are going to have a part number. So if you need to get fabric or any parts for your slide topper, unroll, whatever you have to do, because this thing's rolled up several times around it, but the sticker is there. So knowing that the sticker's there is kind of half the battle. And if you take that number, again, this is a Carefree of Colorado product, but Solera from Lippert, Dometic has them. But if you were to get that sticker right there, you can call, in this instance, Carefree of Colorado and get this piece or these brackets, okay? The fabric and everything. So that's a good number to know for you if you're having to do this yourself, okay? Okay, so now we've got the fabric off of the RV, okay? And now I can work on it down here, and I'm not working on the ladder. And I'll do what, I don't know, like a 2-step, okay? I'm gonna put the new fabric on the roller tube first, and then we're gonna bring it up and put it back on the RV and put our 4 bolts back on, okay? Now, here at this end is where I have I drilled my hole. This spring, this is holding the spring tension, okay? If I pull that pin out, this thing's gonna go, okay, really fast. I don't want it to do that. So I'm gonna leave this side alone. When I pulled this off, you'll notice that I took the other free spooling tube is still up on the RV, leaving this end of my tube totally open, and that's the side we're gonna pull the fabric out of, okay? Some of you might have a really long slide topper and you have springs at both ends. If you do, that trick won't work, okay? But then you would need to pin both sides. You could still take it back down and take it out. I've got an awning video that I've done. You can go to my playlist and find my awning videos. And in that instance, you'll see where I take a pair of vice grips and count the number of turns, okay? And then I can pull my pin out, and then when I put it back together, I reverse that and I count the number of turns, put my pin back in. And that's how you unspring a spring and then spring it back again, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I have a Sharpie, and there is several different slots on this tube, okay? Again, I've got a lot more information on my awning videos. I keep mentioning my awning videos, but I've got an awning playlist. Just watch some of those if you're really stuck on some of this. Maybe my instruction is so fantastic you don't need to look at those. But I'm gonna take a Sharpie and I'm going to mark at that end, because that's the end we're gonna go off on, which channel I'm gonna fold this in on, so when the fabric is off and I'm looking at all these channels and I'm scratching my head like, well, gee, which one was it, okay? Also, it was rolled this way. So I'm not gonna bring the camera over, but I'm gonna make a mark on which channel this came out of with a little arrow to show me which way to roll this thing. Make sense? Okay, and we'll probably do a little bit of fast forward action on you, so just kind of stay and enjoy, grab some popcorn. Here we go. Okay, so that was basically the procedure. We pulled it off and pulled it back on. You may have noticed I put it on and then I pulled it off and put it back on. And the reason I did that is because when I put it on, the finished seams, like where they had folded the fabric over, it was on the top side. And I didn't realize that when I put it on the first time. So we pulled it off, flipped it around and put it on. So now the finished seams are on the bottom side, okay? And I think it's better. So now at this point, we're gonna put this back on, and what we'll be doing is, if this thing would stop rolling on me, can you hold that so it's rolling off? Okay, is here on this side, I'm gonna squirt the track with some silicone to make it more slippery, and then we're gonna take the bigger gimp and slide it in. We've got to kind of navigate around that drain, that gutter spout. I don't see the reason to take that off. Sometimes they're mounted a little bit higher. This one's a little bit lower, and I can kind of work with it a little bit. And so we're going to lubricate that. We're going to spread those little, I'll take a screwdriver and kind of open up the little gutter track a little bit to make it more like a funnel opening. And we'll squirt the whole thing with some silicone, and we'll slide this all the way down and then mount our 4 bolts, okay? Okay, folks, so now that we've got the new fabric on, I've got my crew in place, we're going to take that end, we're going to basically feed it back into the gutter trough, okay? And so what I'm going to do is get the camera set up. I'm going to pan you up a little bit. You're going to stay where you're at from the viewing stands, okay? And you're going to watch, and so I'm going to pan you up a little bit so you get a good shot of the action. So you're far away, but I think you get the idea, okay? So here we go. Okay, so we got that on there. You may have noticed that we ran into some little snags, and I want to talk about those two snags. They're the same kind of things that you might run into. First, we were fighting it at this end. Now, had I taken that gutter spout out, I would have had an open trough to just feed it right in. And a lot of times I'll do that. So I had to make a decision. I'm either going to take that gutter spout out and fight getting that and reseal it and get the screws and put the new sealant all around it, which would have taken time and all this kind of stuff, or leave that intact and fight it like I did. And that's what you saw me doing. I was pulling the spout down, feeding it in, and I had a little bit of a sharp turn. So we did have a little bit of a slow up at this end, okay? I'm okay with that. Slow is smooth, smooth is fast. We got it in, we were fighting this downspout. So if you want to go quick, great. Go through all the trouble, take your downspout out. Now you got to get your sealant and all your scrapers and all that kind of stuff to put the downspout out, or just go slow, nice and smooth, nice and slow, and feed it around and through the downspout. That's what was going on at this end. Another problem we had is on the gutter track, the manufacturer, there's a transition. They have two pieces that came together. And so Dakota was up there feeding it, and right when he got to that spot, it was bunching up. I wasn't able to push it, he wasn't able to pull it, and that's when you saw me go up on the roof and work that through and pull through that transition. So you might have that as well. It's like the two gutters are off just a little bit, and it's creating a little bit of a snag. So I didn't mind you seeing us do that too. You might have the same problem where you're realizing, hey, this isn't always the smoothest thing. So you have to make some decisions. So Dakota did a fantastic job. Let's everybody give him a applause. Wonderful. Could not have done it without him. And did fantastic at the end by holding that tube up. So it really made it easy with having three people, one to help feed it at the far end, Dakota to help pull it, okay, and then me working it around that downspout, okay. So now that we've got it in, and then transition to where she put the tube back in, so you notice we didn't even have to take that one out. By leaving that one there, she was able to, while it was coming, feed right into it, okay. So we've got one screw in on either side. And so basically we're going to finish up, okay? We're going to put our two bolts there, lock those in place, run the slide room in and out a few times, look for that stair-steppy thing, okay? And then we're going to put our set screw back on the end. And that's it. So if this added value to you, give us a thumb up. We really appreciate that. If you like these types of videos where we take you along on different types of tips and tricks that we do as we make these repairs, subscribe to our channel. It's on YouTube, MyRV Works. Okay, and so from Kingston, Washington, this is Darren saying happy campers say MyRV Works, and thanks for watching. We'll see you on the next video.